Okay, I don't care. You're the main man.
That's what I think.
Like I said, you're the brains, I'm the good looks.
That's how it should.
Right? So, I'm just here to make the conversation a little more interesting. Like off the cuff. The Theo Vaughn of podcasts. A bodybuilding podcast.
John likes to stir shit up all the time.
It's going to be like, so, this table is wood.
No.
John's like, no, it's not.
Technically. If you want to get technical.
You can say that it's actually steel. I mean, do you know what's inside of it? Did you open it?
You know how they make it.
I'm not that bad. I am bad, but I'm not that bad. If it's obvious, I'm not going to argue with it.
I don't know, John.
I hope you're recording this.
It's like, so, calories. This chicken breast or this Pop-Tart? John's like, it's the same calories.
It is.
I mean, you gonna get fucking jacked up Pop-Tarts or chicken breast? What the fuck? It's the same.
It is, though. If you boil it down to thermodynamics, it's the same concept. Now, if we're talking about optimal performance, then no, eating Pop-Tarts for 7 meals a day is not optimal, even if it fits your macros. But if you're just a general nutrition client who's trying to lose weight and you can eat calorically dense foods like Pop-Tarts and not cheat on your diet, I guess you're kind of cheating. But as long as you can fit the calories wise and make progress in the right direction, does it really matter?
I don't see that happening, bro.
But who doesn't?
Like, okay, for example, me, the fact that I want to like lose fat, would that be optimal for me to eat Pop-Tarts and stuff?
The most optimal diet is the one you can adhere to.
Yeah, that's true.
To a certain extent.
No.
So again, if you can adhere to Pop-Tarts, what is your chances at these fitness goals you set?
What's your goal?
To lose weight and to build muscle.
Who's losing body fat and building muscle at the same time?
Well, obviously that's why it's a process.
Naturally enhanced.
I'm not saying trying to do it at the same time in a month. I hired you as my coach for 6 months.
Okay.
And I want to lose some weight and then build some muscle.
Okay.
How often are Pop-Tarts going to be an essential part of my diet?
No, but why can't they be? Is the question.
If
You're not going to feel very good, and you're going to be hungry, super hungry.
If your argument is why can't they be, you're sort of contradicting yourself. You arguing that it can work, but you wouldn't do it. Why not?
Because you would starve to death. Because they're calorically dense food versus high volume foods.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. If someone who had a very low appetite could eat 1,200 calories a day in Pop-Tarts, and that's a deficit for them, then why would it not work?
Okay, they might lose weight.
Yeah.
I don't know about fat.
Like Sarah,
Why
she
wouldn't
should
they?
eat Pop-Tarts, right?
She could, probably. But the thing is it's not optimal. But who cares what optimal is if you can adhere to it? Okay, maybe it takes you 3 more weeks to lose the same amount of body fat. Who cares? It's not a race. In general terms.
What type of clients are we talking about?
That's the parameters we're trying to
A
set.
general health client?
Someone who wants to lose body fat. They go to the gym because they just want to do 30 minutes or 45 minutes of activity and they don't really have much of an appetite. Maybe they eat 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day and they don't really care if they're building muscle. They just want to lose some body fat.
How do you lose body fat without building muscle?
You eat in a deficit.
Are we going back to losing weight or losing fat? Or are you talking about a little fat? Just a little bit of fat, not substantial fat.
Why does it have to be little versus substantial? The deficit defines that. If your BMR or your maintenance calories is 2,000 calories a day, and you're only eating 1,000 or 1,200, and you can adhere to that, that's a deficit of 1,000 or 800 calories.
What does a trainer look like with this diet?
Who cares? It's not about training.
Okay.
I think the issue is that Well, I can see what John is saying. I can see from both perspectives because it's like John is like, who cares about that part? But when you have clients that come to you and say, "Well, I have a deadline. I want to get into this dress by this time, and when I want to do this," so
Yeah.
I think it would have to be based on that person.
Now we're making definitions and variables that are more set. In generally speaking, we're not doing that. This is what I'm saying. Like, people need to accept the fact that you can lose weight eating donuts. You can do it. You can lose body fat eating donuts.
Is that healthy?
That's not the question.
Okay.
Can you lose body fat eating donuts and Pop Tarts?
Well, I think for the sake of the people who watch, we should discuss
Health risks and
health should be assumed. The advice we should give should assume that we're also factoring in health. If you had diabetes, if your client had diabetes, would you recommend them to eat Pop-Tarts?
Well, no, because they couldn't. It would spike their insulin.
Right.
But we didn't set any parameters.
Okay.
Okay, now let's set parameters.
We are giving them nutrition advice to
Okay.
somebody who wants to lose fat, build muscle, and be healthy.
Okay. What type of client? Are they general nutrition? Are they trying to get into bodybuilding?
They want to train like a bodybuilder, not compete.
Okay. Then now we're talking about on terms of optimal that you can adhere to, right? So now these parameters are way different than they were.
Well, I think the first one was just a joke.
In a sense.
We were just talking shit.
What?
Because I don't
but it got really spicy.
I don't think you'll ever find any meal plan out there.
No, you won't.
For anybody that has multiple rounds of Pop-Tarts.
Because no one could adhere to it.
I know some people who have no appetite. Who, if they could go snack on a Pop-Tart, they'll be like, I'm good.
And they would lose weight if that's literally all they ate. If they trained and only ate Pop-Tarts,
They would feel like shit though, right?
they would feel like shit, but they would lose weight.
Probably look like shit.
That wasn't a parameter to begin with.
I guess
Well, do you see how specific you have to be with John? This is the brand.
Technically.
It's technically.
Right. Technically.
We need a shirt that says technically. That would be so fucking cool.
with his,
Yeah. Technically.
first of all. All right.
But yeah, generally speaking, calories in versus calories out is a rule of thumb that anyone can use to lose weight or gain weight.
Right.
Is it optimal?
So
That's the question.
That real okay. So we're starting very as base level as it gets.
Yeah, like
Calories in versus calories out. Now let's talk about health and looks and building muscle and
the reason why I bring that up is because someone looks at a nutrition label, right? Most people who are getting in to trying to lose weight, they're going to look at calories, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, oh, this has 0 calories. I can have unlimited of these. Is that healthy? No. But does this beat the shit out of a Coke with 70 grams of sugar in it? Yeah. Right? If their goal is to lose weight. And so that's what I'm getting at is if someone can eat Pop-Tarts, I don't know how many calories are in a Pop-Tart, 402 of them or one of them, whatever it is. We'll just say it's
probably 100 something.
We'll just say it's
Sugar
5.
content is high, probably.
Yeah.
We'll just say it's 500 for 2, for example.
Yeah.
And they're not going to say, well, it's got 14 grams of fat, 56 grams of carbs, and 6 grams of protein or whatever is in there.
Well, I guess we have to identify the angle, the perspective. We're talking coach to client. So they're not gonna, because that's your job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, that's where people need to have some sense of accountability for themselves.
Correct. And that could,
Because if you were my coach and you said, John, eat 5 Pop-Tarts a day, and I didn't say, well, Shawn, I don't think that's a great idea for my health. That would be on me. And just say I developed diabetes from eating 5 Pop-Tarts a day every day for 6 months. Is that your fault? Or is that my fault for just blindly following what you said?
both.
Yeah.
You're an
I agree
idiot,
with that.
and I'm a terrible coach.
Yeah.
That took your money
You're an
with
idiot.
the promise that I would be a good coach.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So both.
Yeah.
You're. It starts with me.
Yeah.
Because you signed a contract with me saying that I would do my job, and my job is not to lead you down the road with fucking diabetes.
Agreed.
But you're an idiot because you don't need to have
I think that's a
qualifications.
basic, that's common
But
sense.
then what is basic? Because when we sit in the gym and we watch some of the form,
it's like, where did these people find someone else doing these exercises?
the thing is, this what pisses me off, and I know it's pure laziness because you didn't just pull that exercise out your ass. So you saw that somewhere, but you didn't take enough time to watch them do it right.
Yep, exactly.
So you're just in here doing, I saw this shit, so I'm gonna just do whatever. And over time, you don't get any better.
And what confuses me the most is, I mean, obviously people watching the gym, or I would say the vast majority of people watching the gym in some sense. Yeah. And I couldn't imagine, I know whenever I was getting into weightlifting in college or whatever, I didn't look at people and be like, why are they doing that? I'm like, that dude's big. I need to be doing that stuff. Like, I did Ronnie Coleman's workout, his 6-day split, for I don't know how long. Yeah. But Ronnie Coleman was the most jacked dude I knew. I mean, he probably ever lived. But you know what I mean? I didn't look at some skinny dude in the gym. I found someone that I'm like, that's what I want to look like. I'm going to do his workout because it works for him. Yeah. Granted, in hindsight, like, I'm not genetically blessed like him. Like, you know what I mean? So,
how did you know you were doing the form right? Sorry to interrupt you.
Just watch his videos. You know what I mean? Like, but Ronnie Coleman's not necessarily the greatest example of form.
But that was the question, because it's like some people, you watch them and they're like, where did they get this from? So how did you know that this is the form that you were supposed to use? Because
I got interested in bodybuilding and I started watching him. Like, I wouldn't watch someone who was 150 pounds soaking wet. I was watching someone 300 pounds jacked.
But you replicated what you saw.
Yeah.
So when you got in the gym, did you replicate what you saw, or was it just a natural thing?
Well, I can't relate to a lot of the guys say, because I was sort of semi-gifted physically, where I was always strong.
Yeah.
I didn't have the phase of 20 pounds that we see grown men with the 20 pound dumbbells. I sort of skipped that phase. Like, even in high school, I was squatting 600, you know? So, and I first started with overhead pressing 135, you know, and 15, 16, but like with ease. And so my form with videos over time has obviously gotten a lot better, but it's just giving a fuck enough to pay attention to them.
I asked that because the question that Tyler asked was mostly like, okay, how did you transition into that? And I think like when you're naturally athletic, you can it comes easier, because when you guys are talking about form and you're like, what the, some of these people you're like, how did you get what you saw and then did this?
I mean, I started in gym, and I feel like in gym training, and I feel like you do have clients who, you don't want to say it, but almost you can't help it. Yeah, because they're so uncoordinated or awkward, you know.
But do you think they could be taught?
I don't know, because I would like to think I'm a good coach, and some of them you would try, but they're just so awkward. Or maybe they went 45 years of their life never being physical, and now they just don't even have the coordination of shit. You know, and now they're 50 and they're a little bit older, so it's hard to. It's where we have been physically active since childhood. You know, I think Tyler's question would be, my answer would be more mental than physical. It didn't teach me a lot physically, but it did teach me the mental part.
I think his question was like, did you play any sports that helped you transition? Was that what it was?
What sports that you play and how to help you transition into, you know. But yeah, for me it was more like my main sport that I was the best at was golf.
People don't know that, huh? Golf champ over here.
So it's a one-on-one game.
Yeah.
Where if you play shitty, that's on you. You don't have a teammate or a coach or nobody to say, hey, this is a group fuck up.
Well, so I played on a high school golf team 1 or 2 years. I can't remember now, but when I remember when we played, I think we played in groups of 4, so it'd be 2 kids at the other school and us 2.
Well, the school golf is you play as a team of 5 people, and the top 4 schools count, but you're still responsible for you.
Yeah, but do you think you fed off? What did you play? Team golf.
What do you mean?
Like in school, or did you just play golf for fun?
No, I played all through college.
So you played as a team.
You play as a team, but Basketball. If you give me a shitty pass and I'm catching it on my ankle, now I gotta catch it and get into my shot form. This is a group fuck up.
I agree with that, but I guess where I was going with that was the person you got paired up with that was on your team. If he was playing shitty, do you think that affected you at all?
Well, I don't know how y'all. You never was with a teammate. It was always you and another team.
Yeah, and maybe that's the way we were. I think I only played 1 year, but
at the end of the day, it's still basketball, football, hockey, stuff like that. We are jointly responsible for this getting into the goal. This getting as we're golf from hole 1 to 18. There's you and your ball and your clubs. And nobody else to blame.
So you think that helped you mentally?
This is
preparation for bodybuilding.
This is how this is.
Yeah.
You don't have nobody. If you out there looking shitty, who you gonna blame?
Yeah, true.
It's an individual sport, right? So you're individually responsible for yourself. You're individual, and I think that when you do play individual sports, that helps you, like, because bodybuilding, to me, I feel like is a very self-centered, I guess you would kind of. It has to be. Yeah. You have to be very selfish, and it's a lot of like you, your time, your moments, you're this, you're that, your meals, your everything, and I think that kind of,
Well, not only that, but it's like me specifically. As I've gotten older, I have found exercises that I just don't like to do. And if I don't like to do them, then I'm not going to train as intensely as I could relative to a movement that I enjoy doing. Like, to me, I've always enjoyed squatting. I did hacks for a long time. I just don't enjoy them as much as I do barbell squatting. Yeah. And so, like, I push myself just because, like, that's just the nature of my mentality. But I don't think I ever push myself as hard on a hack squat that I have in a barbell.
Yeah. I think it's, I mean, because for me, I prefer barbell, but my back holds up better, so I can push myself more on the hack squat. But barbell is more fun to me.
Yeah.
And it's more rewarding because I could tap into like the athletic. It feels more athletic.
I agree.
Just the barbell squat than it does to hack squat. Hack squat, to me, I get the same from that as I do a leg press.
Have you grown to enjoy the style of training that you currently do more so, like
than powerlifting?
Well, that's where I was going with that. Like, you were a powerlifter for a long time, and now you're trying to transition to bodybuilding. Have you found the transition? Like, do you still, like, in your core, feel like how you train for powerlifting is more enjoyable than training like a higher volume?
No, I like this better.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing this a lot longer.
Okay.
Because there's so many things you can do to build muscle. You don't have to barbell row.
Yeah.
You don't have to deadlift. You don't. It's where powerlifting. You got to deadlift.
And I'm like you. As I was younger, I could train 7 days a week, 2 times a day, and not feel like I'm ran down. Now, if I train 5 days in a row, I'm like,
I need a break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But as I've gotten older, like we trained today, we did a pretty thorough warm up on pullovers, and then once we got to chest supported rows, I'm like, let's get it. Like, no more warming up. We're warm. I don't want to waste any energy. Like, I don't have unlimited energy anymore. Like,
I think with this style of training to you, it's not as much temptation to be ignorant. And maybe not ignorant, but immature.
Yeah.
You don't need to put another plate on the bar.
Yeah.
Who are you trying to prove something to? But in powerlifting, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I'm the strongest guy. And I feel like I've developed enough strength where I don't need to be able to squat 8 plates. Like, I'm strong enough where I can transition into this style of training, probably lose a little bit of strength, but still be stronger than most.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Like,
do you think that would be a struggle for you? Because I know you getting ready to transition, like actually trying to train for, getting to the stage at some point. Like, will that mess with you mentally?
No, I don't. Having y'all around me, I really have sort of been like, I don't have anything to prove.
It's because you love us so much.
Yeah.
I love you. But like that guy, the dickhead that came up to me at a sport asking about my numbers, it was like, I feel confident enough in myself that, man, I could spend a month getting ready and outperform you, and lighter than you, leaner than you. So I don't have nothing to prove.
That's the cockiness of bodybuilding.
That's when I realized that I was
There
over it.
There it goes.
I realized I was over it at that point when he didn't get me round up. And I was sort of like, dude, you're a joke. And at that point I was like, I don't have nothing to prove. Like, if I can squat 405 for 10 to 12 reps any given day, what else do I? Why do I need the squatting plates?
Yeah.
Like, who am I? What is that gonna? I know motherfuckers who squat 3 plates at max, huge legs, or motherfuckers that squat 7 plates, little legs.
Yeah.
So really, what am I proving here? You know.
John, are you thinking about doing another show?
I don't know. I mean, I did win the Derby, won my class at the Derby, and I kind of.
Oh wait, did you what? You what?
Yeah.
the first
Who'd you
one,
beat?
I won. Yeah,
Well,
who'd you beat?
that was the first show I won, you know.
Yeah,
So
of course,
Up until
like-
that moment, I hadn't really experienced the sensation of being what I would.
The best.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even call myself successful in bodybuilding. Like, to me, that's just a regional show. That's a stepping stone to something that my expectations is greater than a regional show. And so because of that, I feel like I almost told myself, like, how do I stand up against guys who also win their class on a national level? And so, no offense to anyone I competed with, but I don't feel like anyone, even myself included, that day, I felt like any of us was ready to step on a national stage. And so it's like, do I pursue classic or do I see what I can do in classic? But I don't know.
What's the difference?
So, to move up to the open.
No, you said pursue it or see what you can do.
Look, I said the same thing basically, but what I meant was, should I move up to open if I plan on competing again to see if I would be more successful, or try to make the weight again and do classic on a national level?
I mean, you have the work ethic to become pro. Is that a goal?
Well, I think I had the work ethic to do that, but I'm not sure if at this point in my life I want to take that amount of time and sacrifice to chase that. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. It's like, because bodybuilding is so selfish, like.
Yeah. And can you be a little bit more like specific? Like, what do you mean by that? Because
By sacrifice.
yeah, what sacrifices?
Well, I get so tunnel vision whenever I have a goal like that, and so that I pretty much get fixated on it. And so I'm gonna develop a routine, whatever routine that is, and I'm not gonna deviate from it. And no matter who you are, it's gonna happen on my terms. And like, you know, here I am about to turn 32, single. I'd like to have a life partner at some point before I die. But there's also.
But it would help if it was somebody that was also in that like same, community, so that way
Who
it's
understood?
easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big topic too, is the relationships and the sport.
And I don't even think the person you're with has to be into it. I just think they have to have
An understanding.
an understanding that, for the next 16 weeks, you're not going to be able to go out to dinners and eat off the menu. You're going to be taking a meal with you, or you have one scheduled meal off plan a week, or maybe not at all that week, depending on.
Do you think that they have? My opinion is they don't have to compete, but they do have to live that same lifestyle. Because honestly, until you live that lifestyle, nobody knows. Nobody can understand because you don't understand.
I personally don't even think, unless someone has dated someone who has competed or have competed themselves, I don't think they fully understand, just based on my experience, I don't think they fully understand the amount it takes to go through a prep. I'm not saying prep is the hardest thing on the planet, because I personally don't find it super challenging, but it is very selfish.
Oh, absolutely.
But okay, so levels, maybe not a full-blown prep, but eating off a meal plan, training your ass off, not cheating. If somebody has lived that lifestyle, they can at least understand why you're not going to eat off the menu, why you need to go to bed,
Or why you're irritable.
why you might be irritable. You train when you don't
times.
want to. This being something that you do every day.
Yeah.
So really, between work and that, you really don't have time to fuck around.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying that the reason why you don't know whether you would be ready for that is because you would potentially would like to try to get a partner and, you know, is that what you're saying?
That's just an example of
Okay.
you know, something that I would like to have. It's hard to date when you're
in that,
you're in a prep, and then it's like it's hard to travel when you're in prep too. It's like, what gym am I going to train at? How am I going to get my meals there? Am I going to be able to cook it, or do I have to cook it all before? Am I flying? How much food can I take if I'm flying?
Right.
You know, does my hotel have a refrigerator? If it does, how big is it? It's just all these things that just makes life more challenging. Whenever I can just train, have fun.
Right.
I mean.
And still keep the goals that you have as far as like how you want your body to look.
Like if I stayed looking like this for the rest of my life, I'd be satisfied. Like I'm not unhappy with the way I look. Could I look better? Absolutely. But we could. I think the point people need to get to in their life is that no matter what phase they're in, whether they're a little bit heavier than they would like, or a little bit leaner than they would like, or a little, you know, maybe they want to gain more muscle or lose a little bit of muscle, whatever it is, you should be happy in that moment with how you look. I mean, I hope no one looks in the mirror and is just like, God dang, like I look like a piece of trash, and just hate the way they look in the mirror. Because I've been there, like I've looked in the mirror before and I'm like, I'm way too fat. Not that I was even fat, but that's, you know, that's body dysmorphia of a bodybuilder for you.
I mean, I don't hope anybody, I don't know. There's some people out there who you probably would want them to say, hey, I need to get this shit together. Because
I know I'm an asshole, but no, I don't want anyone to feel like that.
well, that is
Feeling like that, but then wanting them to feel like that because health wise. It's not so much
someone
like
who was 350 pounds, 50% body fat. What you think she should look in the mirror and be like,
Yes.
So then when will she get her shit together?
Happy and healthy. That's all I want for people.
Is she healthy?
I don't know. Who can answer that other than herself?
A doctor.
And here's another thing. The people on, say, my 600-pound life, extreme example. If they look in the mirror and they're like, I love the way I look, body positivity, great. And they're like, I know I'm taking years off my life by living like this. We do that by taking steroids. But that's a conscious decision we made and are accepting of that fact.
What percentage of people do you think that are extremely overweight, super high body fat, that actually are happy, that actually wake up?
Very little.
Yeah.
or are healthy, like healthy.
Yeah, but how healthy are we?
I do believe that.
I think there's an extreme though, because you guys are doing bodybuilding and there's certain things that you guys are, but I'm talking about like the average human who are just working out and just like, you know, to stay, you know, relatively healthy compared to those who are 300 to 600 pounds. Like,
Because here's
really?
the thing. There's a necessary in powerlifting and bodybuilding and all that shit. The steroids semi is a necessary evil. You could be Natty and compete in natural, but
There we go.
it's only so far you can fucking go. No fucking guy 5'10", 180 pounds is going to be
And I have to be proud.
you're just not going to fucking do it naturally. So it's a necessary evil. But
Dana, no.
do you think that Do you think that if me and you said fuck it, no more drugs, just could we just say fuck it and just gorge ourselves till we got to 600 pounds?
No.
We'll probably get lean and be fucking little because we would eat healthy and clean and train hard.
Well, let's say theoretically you stop taking steroids.
Right.
Like I take TRT now because I've always had testosterone. But just say we have normal testosterone, whether you need TRT or not. Healthy, normal male levels for our age. How much muscle do you think you'd lose?
Substantial.
You think so?
If I just went and test everything gone,
The training, food, everything stays the same. The only thing you do is healthy testosterone levels.
not a shit ton, but honestly, I don't know. I put on some decent muscle naturally.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm only a year and maybe a year and a couple months in.
Yeah.
You know, so I put on a substantial muscle before I touch anything, and that was my goal. I said if I ever tried it, I'm a put on some quality muscle.
Yeah.
Follow a meal plan. Can say I successfully did that for an extended period of time before I just jump right to that.
Was there like a body weight or percent body fat at a certain weight that you?
Yeah, I wanted to be like 200 to 210 and be under 12%.
Yeah. And I think I told you about that Casey Butt formula that I found forever ago in college.
Yeah.
That's what I based mine off of.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, this is just off the top of my head. I think it told me I could be something like 235 pounds at 15% body fat naturally or something like that, somewhere around in there. And I think at the time I was probably like 18% body fat, 235, 237. And so I'm like, okay, well, this formula is based on the genetic elite, the study is. And I'm like, I'm not elite. Like, I'm far from a genetic elite. I'm above average, but I'm not elite by any means. And so once I was what I considered close, I'm like, okay, I think it's time for me to consider crossing that line.
Yeah. And I wasn't saying that's where I wanted to stop.
Yeah.
I just said that I started at 180. So I'm like, if I could get to that, 210 or so, be under 12%, which I was, then I'm like, okay. And really the powerlifting is what started it. It wasn't,
What were your, just not that it really matters, but strength wise, what were your numbers, squat, bench, deadlift, before you ever touched the thing? Best numbers. It could be GM.
Bench was probably, I think I got to like 300.
Okay.
That was more than that.
I don't think I hit 3. If I hit 3, I probably got close to 3. Maybe 315 was a struggle rep.
Okay.
Squat was always good. It was probably like 490,
Okay.
490, pushing 5 before anything. And ironically, I didn't deadlift a lot.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Before, so it was probably mid 4s.
Yeah, so I'm right there with you. So I was probably 20-ish, 21-ish. I think I might have had a 315 bench, maybe. I was somewhere around the 300s. I remember 455, I'm pretty sure, if not 500 for a single in college. Maybe 455. And then, like you said, I never really deadlift, but I think I did maybe a 455 deadlift too.
Yeah.
Because my squat and deadlift were always relatively similar until I got a little bit older. And then I wouldn't push myself on a deadlift because I wasn't comfortable doing it. Because I had so many back issues younger. But I could push myself on a squat without being in pain.
Yeah. I would say, relatively speaking, age, weight, everything included, I was stronger in high school than I am now.
Pound for pound.
Yeah. It's probably like 170 to 180 at 16.
Yeah.
And squat is 640. No belt, no wraps, nothing, hit depth. And now at 270, I'm not squatting it with nothing. No belt, no straps, no.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I've been wear and tear basketball, football, golf, martial arts over the years. That injuries and shit tearing my Achilles, but yeah, I wouldn't. There's no way.
For the sake of time, because we're almost we're a little bit past, but that's good, right?
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic already of taking stuff, we can talk about the hot topic of the last 2 weeks, which is, I just forget her name every time.
Dana Linn Bailey.
Yeah. So we were talking about that earlier. Well, I sent both of you guys her picture. And I asked Shawn and then I asked John, and you said, hell yeah, she's taking something. John was like, she's a soccer player. She's not taking shit.
No, I don't think I said it that way.
Here's my thing. I cannot say for a fact that she is taking something at this moment, today. Is she a lifetime natural? It's no way. I don't care how jacked she was when she was playing soccer.
She trains really hard. That's what she said.
She trains. Women do not develop those fucking bowling ball shoulders and traps with chicken breasts. I'm sorry.
John says you can, and I love it.
He said
John says you
she's
can.
genetically elite, and maybe she is, and even fucking so.
Yeah.
No.
I'm saying so here's the stipulation on, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because I don't want to call her a liar, right? And so in order for her to achieve her physique naturally, I'm saying she has to be the top tier genetic elite of females for specifically developing muscle, right? Not everyone is genetically gifted for building muscle. Someone's more intelligent, or maybe they recover faster, or whatever the case may be. And then you got to couple that with the mental toughness to endure that type of training over and over and over again on a very strict diet, day in and day out. So it's to me, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt that she's the perfect storm to be natural.
That's very optimistic.
But she's claiming natural. Who am I to say that she's not? Now, like we talked about earlier, if someone came up to me and said, John, natural, not, we're betting on it, like we're gonna drug test her, some, whatever. I'm putting my money on she's not.
But she hasn't been, but she could be now.
Correct. That she hasn't. That she's not lifetime.
What's one of the telltale signs of a woman on steroids?
I don't know.
Voice, shoulders.
Yeah, but her voice
traps.
isn't that bad.
Her voice is fucking deep.
It's not that bad.
It's not. It's
I
not
would say
terrible.
it's not as bad as like some of the women that I've heard.
Oh yeah, no. I'm
But
not
you
saying
can still-
she's one of the worst. But I would love to hear her talk
Younger.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
And today.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like that's where it's challenging because it's hard to compare voices, for example. But you can't compare like facial features, which women tend to, get a more pronounced jawline whenever they're taking stuff, or well, we can't really tell body hair, but women tend to grow more body hair. And
I just think that it's more, in my personal opinion, it's more than obvious. Even as the elite, she literally checks all the boxes for how you can tell a woman on steroids besides maybe a super deep voice.
Yeah.
Everything else is fucking there. Crazy lean, massive shoulders.
But she's always been like
Mountain hill trap.
she's always had good delts too. Not necessarily cat delts, but they've been developed.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, how much weight training specifically for hypertrophy do college players do? You know what I mean?
But do you guys think that, I think that one of the arguments were the fact that you set this expectation when you're a woman and you're training, and then other women that want to train and they're like, well, if she's natural, then I don't want to ever train and look like that. And I think that's one of the things that's the most controversial thing that's been happening around this conversation, is because women are afraid to train because they're like, well, if she's natural and you can train and look like that, then why would I want to go and train and look like this?
Well, that goes back to the genetic elite. If you're in the 0.01% of the genetic elite, I'm sorry, but 99.9% of women aren't going to look like her.
But she's not given that education to say, hey, I'm natural, but I'm me.
Yeah.
She's just making it seem, and to her point, Layla's point is that there are a lot of women, I deal with them who, I don't want to do that because I don't look like a man.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to weight train. I just want to do cardio.
And you go right to the steroids saying, listen, lady, steroids, and no steroids and shit looks like that.
Yeah.
She is fucking on steroids. She's not the only one. I'm not gonna go off the logical because she said it. We can go down a shit list of people who say they're natural.
Yeah.
And we know some personally.
But here's the thing,
Shay.
But back to the elite thing, you're taking someone who was the very first Miss Physique Olympia, right? We're not taking, what's her name, Julian Michaels, someone who just I don't know what she does, but I just know she's was a woman in the fitness industry who was very popular for a very long time, if not still. Look at her. She doesn't look like that, but she looks good. You know what I mean? So why is someone comparing themselves to the top tier of a specific division of bodybuilding versus comparing themselves to someone who they want to look like? No, most women don't want to look like Dana Linn Bailey. Even the way she looks today, she's too muscular, in my opinion, for what most women want to look like.
I think it's because they have more fame. That's the reason why. They're more. They're talked about a lot more than the ones that kind of
Because they're outliers. I mean,
for the sake of time, my last point is that with her. In general, what men or women, what percentage would you say of people who get to that level, whether it's super high bodybuilding or fitness influence or whatever, to her level, natural? How many of those people do you really think are natural?
on the IFBB Pro stage?
That level, that level.
Top 10 in every division in the Mr. Olympia this year were not natural. I'd bet a paycheck. None of them.
It's just, What time period would you say maybe the 1600s where like you can't eat that. They were eating and everything was labor. And I don't think our bodies are designed to be 350 pounds, 5% body fat. They're not really fucking muscle. So you can't even start to say natural. When you look at those guys.
And I'm even talking about the women. I'm talking about the women too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bikini classes, top 10 in the Mr. Olympia bikini division. I would bet money that the top 10 were not natural.
Right.
They all took something.
And let's specify, they don't have to be on like hardcore shit either.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, but the thing is if you're taking any type of performance enhancing drug, whether it's clenbuterol or anything, you're not natural anymore.
Natural means natural.
Yes.
You can't. I'm not gonna say her name, but she's from Louisville and she competes. She competed in Miss Olympia, and like, I mean, I'm sure there's multiple people, but maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I can understand you lying about your usage because more people lied, and it wasn't as open. But nowadays, why do you lie?
Yeah.
Because you're down the rabbit hole,
Now,
and it's harder.
Does she claim natural now?
No, she doesn't. But
Okay.
the point I was gonna make is if I pulled a picture and showed you like, a woman's body doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Off a fucking chicken breast and wings.
Yeah.
Like when I say Jack, she's fucking. It's crazy. So like, I don't understand why the lady you're talking about originally is claiming natural. But like you said, maybe it's because she has been doing it for so long that she would look like a fool to now come back and say, I've been lying for
and talking openly about steroids has only been pretty acceptable in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. Like,
I'd say probably longer, maybe 5 or 6.
but she was Miss Olympia like in 2012 maybe.
Because you gotta think time is flying. COVID has been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's probably not 5 or 6 that you can people just come to you in the fucking gym. Like
That's another topic for
the
another
fucking we'll save that one.
Yeah, we did good today. You did good. It was very natural, very. You
think
guys
we
look
should
great on camera. Like, look at y'all, so cute.
I think we should always start like that. Just
let it roll and just
Just let it roll.
Yeah.
Mhm. That was good.
Next one we'll talk about cheat meals and we'll have our cheat meals.
Yeah.
You can have a cheat meal.
Maybe we have to do it on Saturday though. Saturday night.
Okay. We'll go out and purposely buy the cheat meal that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And we'll have it.
Well, let's just eat in the restaurant. We'll just have her hold the
Or I mean, we can bring this. I mean, it's not awkward because people do that all the time now. Like, this is the new way. This is the new life.
Yeah.
People.
I would be comfortable doing that at like sumo.
Yeah, they probably
Would you?
find it funny.
They would be nice about it.
Yeah, especially if it wasn't packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go like, I don't know.
Oh, we can sit in the corner. Like, there's a booth in the corner in the back where we can
I feel
kind
like they
of.
wouldn't go do research. I thought we should just lie. Say, hey, we're super famous. We just want to, we'll pump your place.
Right, exactly. We'll definitely put their place on there. So.
I don't think they'll be like, what's that?
Yeah.
Oh, you lied to us. Wrong.
Let's be like, hey, do you mind if we film a podcast about cheat meals in here?
Right.
They're going to be like, our place ain't fucking cheat meals. This is healthy, motherfucker.
People are gonna be freaking out whenever I place my order.
Oh my God. Can I get 7 of this and 3 of
Oh,
this?
that's gonna be the great because watching John like take out his phone with his list.
You guys gonna be ripping me.
When he was ordering it, I didn't look up. I just heard him and I was like, this motherfucker remembered what he wanted. He had it written down.
No, he had it in his phone. Yeah,
The
when I
thing is,
saw it,
I don't go there every week, so it's like,
what do I like? What do I not
Catch
like?
this on fucking camera. So we go.
when?
This is maybe a week ago.
Okay.
And she let us order it. So I order shrimp
God.
tempura
Okay.
roll.
Okay.
Shrimp tempura roll.
Okay.
She orders shrimp tempura. Her logic, but she thought the shrimp tempura was a small shrimp tempura roll. So
It-
what
they
I
was on the
got, the same
appetizer
thing she
menu.
was gonna get,
Okay.
but a smaller version. It didn't say roll. They bring out the fucking big ass shrimp sticks and the giant vegetables fried, and she's like, I didn't want this. I said, oh, you eat it now, you fucking paying for it.
Was it good though?
No, she took one little bite. I was like, I said, eat it. She said, I don't want it. She refused to eat it. She was willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
So the guy comes over, she fucking puts on a cute face and I thought I was bringing that, but I have this. I don't want it. And he was like, oh, it's okay. No, it's okay. If that was fucking me, I would have to pay for it.
Yeah.
John, I made a mistake the whole time when they brought it out. I was like, that don't look like his shit was smaller. Like, it looks like a whole nother meal. I was so mad, but I mean, I told him, I said, I know you're gonna pay for it, but I'll pay for this part. Like, if anything. But the guy was like, oh, it's okay. And then he came back, he was like, do you want the shrimp at least? I was like, I'll eat it.
Like, I'm like, first of all, it's really good, but shrimp tempura roll, shrimp tempura, her logic. This is just an appetizer version. Okay. Well, we was all in the woods, trapped for days. John could fish.
John could fish, but
He
can
could.
you?
Yeah, I could.
Gut the fish.
I've never done that.
He could run down a fucking moose.
Yes.
And like, take it down by the antlers.
Yes. Factual. I have taken down a moose before.